Welcome to the NBS Bondi Memorial, a 14-month disaster that proved if you can't beat them, you can definitely be bought by them. Let's start with the deposit that started the friendship.
In 2013, the Donald J. Trump Foundation donated $25,000 to a super PAC tied to Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi.
$25,000. That's the price of justice in Florida. It's also the exact cost of a used mid-sized sedan with questionable transmission, much like Pam's career.
As her office was considering a fraud investigation into Trump University. That investigation was never opened.
Investigation ghosted. Pam paid. It's the circle of life, Simba, but with more subpoenas and less catchy music.
Of course I asked Donald Trump for a contribution. That's not what this is about.
Actually, Pam, that's exactly what this is about. If it weren't about the money, you'd be a social worker. Instead, you're a human ATM for the executive branch.
She was saying he was under investigation by my office at the time, and I knew about it. None of which is true.
None of which is true? The only thing true in that sentence is the period at the end. The paper trail is wider than the Everglades and twice as swampy.
I gotta give to them because when I want something, I get it. When I call, they kiss my ass.
And there it is, the CEO of the company explaining the return on investment. Pam didn't get a donor, she got a supervisor.
Both Bondi and Trump say there was no impropriety, and the campaign says Trump paid the IRS fine.
Oh, well, they paid a fine. Well, pack it up, boys. A $2,000 fine on a $25,000 bribe makes everything legal. That's not law. That's just a service fee for a felony.
You've basically gone after gay people, said that in court that gay people, simply by fighting for marriage equality, were trying to do harm. Do you really think you're a champion of the gay community?
Whoa. Did you hear that? That's the sound of Pam's moral compass trying to find a signal in a dead zone. It's like a dial-up modem from 1996 trying to download a conscience. She's buffering. Hang on, everyone. The integrity.exe file is corrupted and it's taking 10 business days to load a single sentence. Watch this. She's about to hit the emergency Bible button. In 3, 2, 1.
Let me tell you, when I was sworn in as Attorney General, I put my hand on a Bible and was sworn to uphold the Constitution of the state of Florida.
The Bible defense. The ultimate emergency exit for a politician caught in 4K denying their own legal filings. Careful, Pam! The book might catch fire if you hold it too long.
It's just that I will say I have never really seen you talk about gays and lesbians and transgender people in a positive way until now.
Nothing says ally like a last-minute JPEG upload after a massacre.
You know, it is Gay Pride Month. You've never even tweeted about Gay Pride Month. I mean,
well, actually, if you look at my website now, we have hands clasped together.
Oh, the website. Everyone stop the presses. Pam found the insert image button. She's acting like she brokered world peace, but she actually just spent 3 minutes in a stock photo library looking for the most non-committal way to say, please stop yelling at me. Watch her try to sell this like it's a Lifetime Achievement Award.
All different colored rainbow hands.
So you just put that up now?
So, yeah, I did after this horrible tragedy,
Right.
absolutely.
And there it is, the absolutely. She didn't put it up because it was Pride Month. She put it up because the PR department told her the optics of her 2014 legal briefs were starting to look like a career suicide note. It's not a tribute, Pam. It's a digital coat of paint on a crumbling building. You don't get a trophy for decorating the room after you tried to lock the doors.
In their trial memorandum, the House managers described this as baseless.
And there's the key word, baseless. That's Pam's favorite word for anything she can't monetize. She's setting the stage for 2026 where she'll call the Epstein victims' claims baseless while she busy bees her way through a redaction marathon. It's a classic Pam move. If you can't win the argument, just call the facts baseless and hope the check clears.
Now, why did they say that? Why did they invoke Biden or Burisma over 400 times?
Because, unlike your donation history, some people like evidence before they start a fire. Also, Burisma is Pam's favorite word. It has just enough syllables to sound scary to people who can't point to Ukraine on the map.
The appointment of the vice president's son to a Ukrainian oil board looks nepotistic at best, nefarious at worst.
Nefarious! She's using $5 words to describe her own mirror. If nepotism was a crime, Pam, you'd be the cell block captain.
As a prosecutor, I've seen crime and brutality fueled by drugs.
Did you see that head shake? That's not disgust, that's a dramatic flourish she learned in a community theater workshop for concerned citizen number 4. And look at that lens flare. The editor was working overtime trying to hide the fact that Pam is reading off a teleprompter like she's reciting a grocery list. It's not a campaign ad, it's a high school drama project with a multi-million-dollar budget. Brutality, fueled. Calm down, Meryl Streep. The only thing fueled here is the cringe factor.
As Attorney General, I banned synthetic forms of heroin and acid.
Synthetic heroin? Pam, you're in Florida. Your state's main export is bath salts and questionable decisions. Who are you protecting us from? The residents of Sarasota?
Of the top 100 oxycodone dispensing doctors in this country, 98 of them lived in Florida. Today, there are none.
Just look at that smile. That's not a human expression. That's a system error. A cyborg. It's the Joker smile, but with more Botox and fewer morals. She's staring into your soul, looking for a donation.
Pam Bondi, our Attorney General.
Yes, our Attorney General. For a limited time only, batteries not included. Fraud sold separately.
Florida ranks 3rd nationally in calls for help for human trafficking.
3rd? Wow, Pam. Way to lean into the bronze medal for the states that ignore predators. This ad aged like a cartoon of milk left on a Florida sidewalk in July. You're citing the stats while the most notorious trafficking operation in history was happening in your own backyard in Palm Beach. It's like a lighthouse keeper bragging about how many ships almost hit the rocks while ignoring the one that just sank the Titanic right in front of them.
Where young women and children are enslaved and abused.
Enslaved and abused. She says it with so much gravity, but she's the same Attorney General who spent 2025 redacting the names of the people doing the abusing. It's a reoccurring theme with Pam. Talk tough about the crime in a commercial, but when it's time to actually open the files and prosecute the billionaires, she suddenly develops a severe case of not yet. It's not a crusade, Pam. It's a career-long cover-up with a high production budget.
And I'll fight to put human trafficking monsters where they belong, behind bars.
Behind bars? You didn't put Epstein behind bars. You put his victims on a redacted list and then reviewed it for 14 months until everyone forgot. The only monsters Pam fights are the ones who don't have a Mar-a-Lago membership.
Pam Bondi, our Attorney General.
Again, our Attorney General. The one who watched the monsters play in the Florida sun while she was busy banning synthetic acid. Priorities.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients? Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump.
The Epstein list is on her desk, along with a How to Lobby handbook and a very large paperweight shaped like a non-disclosure agreement. It's been there so long, it's technically a permanent resident of the DOJ.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
Not yet. She's looking at a roster of the world's worst people, and she's as bored as someone reading a gluten-free bread recipe. Either she can't read, or she's looking for her own name.
Your DOJ agencies have seized more than 22 million fentanyl pills.
Did you hear that tone? She's announcing drug seizures with the same Price is Right energy as if she's giving away a brand new jet ski. 22 million pills! She's one breath away from throwing confetti and telling the media they all get a free toaster. Relax, Pam. It's a drug bust, not a gender reveal party. Although, with your math, the confetti would probably count as 5 billion babies.
3,400 kilos of fentanyl since you've been your last 100 days, which saved, are you ready for this, media? 258 million lives.
258 million? Pam, there are 330 million people in America. You're claiming you saved everyone except the population of Texas and a few stray Floridians. You didn't just save the country, you statistically resurrected the entire voting base.
ATF, since you've been in office, President, along with DOJ agencies, seized 14,500 guns off the streets. Why aren't people reporting that?
Why aren't people reporting it? Maybe because they're too busy reporting on the $400 million gift you just legalized for your buddies. 14,000 guns? Pam, that's just a slow Tuesday in Miami. You're bragging about catching the small fry while you're currently acting as the legal concierge for a billionaire island. It's like a waiter bragging about a clean fork while the kitchen is literally on fire behind him. People aren't reporting the guns because they're looking at the giant Qatari jet you just parked in the lobby.
I could go on all day long, but we are doing everything in our power to keep America safe at your direction. Thank you, President.
She could go on all day, but the math teacher is waiting outside with a ruler and a very disappointed look on his face. This isn't a report. It's a competitive flattery pageant. And what's with thank you, President? President? Huh? Isn't it Mr. President?
Both grand juries rejected you and refused to indict her. It is practically unheard of for a grand jury to refuse an indictment.
Practically unheard of. Usually a prosecutor could indict a ham sandwich if they wanted to, but Pam couldn't even get a grand jury to look at a menu. She's out here making history for all the wrong reasons. It takes a special kind of talent to walk into a room where everyone is predisposed to say yes and walk out with a double no. It's not just a rejection, Pam. It's a restraining order from the legal system itself. You aren't a prosecutor. You're a professional participant in a losing streak.
In 2016, it happened in just 6 cases out of over 150,000 offenses. And you had it happen twice in the same week, in 2 different courts. That must have been humiliating.
Twice in 1 week. That's a double no with a side of please leave. In 2016, this happened in 6 cases out of 150,000. Pam, you're the 1% of the 1% of legal failures. You didn't just drop the ball. You threw it into the stands and hit the mascot. Watching you walk into 2 different courts and get laughed out of both is like watching someone trip over a flat surface. Twice. The only thing more humiliating than that is the fact that you still expect an apology from everyone else. Pack it up, Pam. The jury has spoken and they said not today and definitely not you.
Have you apologized to President Trump?
Wait, what? Did she really just say that? Pam, you just got roasted for having the worst win-loss record in the history of grand juries, and your first instinct is to ask for an apology for the boss? That's not a legal defense. That's a Stockholm Syndrome speed run. It's like a captain sinking the ship and then demanding the passengers apologize to the ocean. I'm actually impressed. It takes a world-class lack of self-awareness to be that delusional in a suit that expensive.
Have you apologized to President Trump, all of you who participated in those impeachment hearings against Donald Trump? You all should be apologizing.
And she's still going. She's doubled down on the apology tour. She's not looking for justice. She's looking for a participation trophy for the president's ego. Watching her ignore the fact that she just lost 2 grand juries in a week to demand an apology is like watching a kicker miss a field goal and then demanding the grass apologize to the ball. This isn't a hearing anymore, folks. It's a cult recruitment seminar with better lighting.
The Dow right now is over. The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin.
Wait. Is she reading a legal defense or a CNBC ticker? Pam, you aren't in a Goldman Sachs board meeting. You're in a congressional hearing about why you let child trafficking monsters off the hook. Trying to pit it from the Epstein files to the NASDAQ is like a doctor telling you that you have 6 months to live, but hey, look at how shiny my stethoscope is. It's not flax, Pam. It's a distraction so loud it's practically vibrating. You're talking about stock trains while the victims are waiting for the names you redacted.
The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about.
That's what we should be talking about? Really, Pam? We should be talking about the S&P 500 while we're actually here to discuss why the Department of Justice became a private protection agency for your former lobbying clients? This hearing is about the Epstein files, the Qatari jets, and the 2 grand juries that basically told you to go home. You can't pay for a clean conscience with a booming 401k. People aren't here for investment advice from a woman who couldn't even investigate a crime happening in her own zip code. This isn't a boom, Pam. It's a bust. Specifically, your career.
The 14-month tenure of Attorney General Pam Bondi is over, with President Trump removing the Attorney General after reportedly growing frustrated with her job performance.
14 months. That's not a tenure. That's a long-term lease that just got terminated for non-payment of results. Imagine being so bad at your job that even the guy who hired you for loyalty gets frustrated that you can't actually wham a case. It's like hiring a bodyguard who's afraid of the dark. Pam spent over a year redacting files, dodging subpoenas, and failing grand juries, until finally, even the boss realized that blind loyalty doesn't look as good on a resume as actually knowing how to prosecute. She didn't leave. She was returned to sender for being defective. But don't worry, Pam wasn't going to leave without one last round of alternative facts on her way out. Let's look at the Truth Social post that officially turned our Attorney General into that woman he used to work here.
Pam Bondi is a great American patriot, a loyal friend who faithfully served as my Attorney General over the past year.
Oh, the patriot kiss of death. In this administration, being called a great American patriot on Truth Social is the official notification that your key card already stopped working. It's like being told you're part of the family right before they change the locks on the house. She wasn't an attorney general, she was a loyal friend, which in DC means she's the one who held the bag until it got too heavy. Faithfully served, more like faithfully distracted everyone while the files were being shredded.
Pam did a tremendous job overseeing a massive crackdown on crime, saying we love Pam and we will be transitioning to a much needed and important new job in the private sector.
We love Pam. We love her. She's fantastic. She's doing a great job. Now get her out of the building. Give her a job in the private sector. Maybe Qatar needs a new wing woman. The private sector, folks, that's where failed AGs go to live on a farm with all the other lobbyists. It's not a much-needed job, it's an escape hatch. She didn't oversee a crackdown on crime. She oversaw a crackdown on transparency. She's not transitioning to a new job. She's retreating back to the lobbying firm that paid for her soul in the first place.
Over the next month, I will be working tirelessly to transition the office of the Attorney General to the amazing Todd Blanche.
Working tirelessly? Pam, you haven't been this motivated to move since the last time a process server knocked on your door. And the amazing Todd Blanche? That's not a legal transition. That's just swapping out one defense attorney for another. It's like a restaurant replacing a chef who can't cook with a chef who specializes in hiding the health code violations. She's handing over the keys to the evidence locker and making sure the shredder is warmed up for him. Amazing is one word for it, terrifying is another.
Before moving to an important private sector role, I am thrilled about where I continue fighting for President Trump at the administration.
Thrilled, she says, thrilled! But her career just got evicted from the biggest office in the land. And fighting for the president, Pam, you aren't in the ring, you're being tossed into the alleyway. The private sector is just a fancy lobbyist lounge where you get paid to call in favors from the people who haven't been fired yet. You aren't a fighter. You're a professional cheerleader who just lost her pom-poms. But hey, at least in the private sector, they don't have congressional hearings, usually.
Nancy Mace, the Republican from South Carolina, says her subpoena still stands.
Ouch! You know you've failed the mission when the subpoena outlasts your employment. Most people leave a job and get a gold watch. Pam's leaving with a stand-in invitation to testify under oath. Nancy Mace is basically saying, I don't care if you're in the private sector, Pam. You're still not taking those files to the shredder. It's like getting a bill from your ex-landlord after you've already moved out, except the bill is for all the evidence you accidentally redacted.
despite Pam Bondi not being in this role, saying, quote, I want an attorney general who will make arrests, who will prosecute, and will put criminals in jail, and I want all the Epstein files released. No more two-tier system of justice.
No more two-tier system. When a Republican from South Carolina is calling out your DOJ for protecting the elite, you haven't just lost the plot. Pam, you've lost the whole library. Mesa's saying what everyone's thinking. You spent 14 months acting as a high-priced bouncer for the billionaires on that island. You didn't give us justice. You gave us a 401k update and a not yet on the names that actually matter. Being told you're the face of two-tier justice by your own team, that's not a transition. Not a transition, Pam. That's a total professional meltdown.
Attorney General Pam Bondi, who used to be a lobbyist for that government, said the gift is, quote, legally permissible and not a bribe because Trump isn't giving Qatar anything in return.
Legally permissible. Write that down, Kivs. That's the official slogan of the Bondi DOJ. She's basically saying it's not a bribe if we call it a gift, and I'm the one signing the permission slip. She spent years on the Qatari payroll, and her final act as Attorney General was to tell us that a $400 million thank you from her former bosses is totally fine. Nothing to see here. It's like a fox being the night watch for the hen house and telling the farmer, actually, the chickens wanted to be snacks. It's legally permissible.
President Trump says that Bondi now has a new job in the private sector. She says that she is working to make the transition a smooth one.
A smooth transition. Translation, she's making sure the paper trail is as smooth as her Botox before she sprints back to the lobbying firm. She came in to kill a Trump University probe, stayed to redact the Epstein files, legalized a massive payoff from Qatar, and is leaving before the Nancy May subpoenas actually hit her desk. That's not a career, folks. That's a heist with a pension plan. Pam Bondi proves that in D.C., you don't need to be a good lawyer if you're a great friend to the right people. She's moving to the private sector, but let's be real, she never really left it. She has had a 14-month internship at the Department of Justice. For NBS, I'm Rex. Sleep well, Florida. Someone has to.